The ratings for Fox News have imploded as viewers revolt against the attempted media coup against Trump. In this video, we're going to take a look at the utter disaster the weekend ratings were for Fox News after they botched the election coverage, how viewers are rejecting them after they helped lead an attempted media coup against President Trump, and what the prospects are for conservative news for the days ahead. You're not going to want to miss this. We're going to jump right into things here. I would first appreciate you smacking that bell and subscribe button, be a regular part of this channel. And let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that's our good friends over at BioTrust. You know, with our rapid advances in science over the years, there are much more powerful ways, effective ways to boost your immune system than just taking mega doses of vitamin C. In fact, our sponsors over at BioTrust have combined 4 of the world's best immune supporting powerhouses along with that mega dose of vitamin C into their #1 immunity support product, Ageless Body. Simply put, Ageless Body provides you 5 of the most powerful immune support ingredients available. I take it every day and I love it. Now, if you click on that link below today, you can now get Ageless Body at their lowest price ever. You ready? Up to 51% off with free US shipping to boot. So don't wait. It's a limited time offer. Click on the link below or go to agewithsteveturley.com and give your immune system an awesome boost today. All right, gang, so let's dive right in here. Fox News has just experienced one of its worst rated weekends ever. Astonishingly, the Fox News channel came in a distant 3rd place to CNN and MSNBC. CNN got 1st place for Saturday ratings, followed by MSNBC. Just to give you a sense of how colossal a collapse this was, in the days leading up to Tuesday's election, Fox News averaged more than double the viewership of CNN and MSNBC. USA Today reported that CNN topped the list of cable news outlets this Saturday after they were the first to project that Biden had won the presidency. They came in with a whopping 4.2 million viewers. They were followed by MSNBC with 3 million viewers, and trailing far behind was Fox News with a measly 1.7 million. Now, obviously, viewers have been in a revolt against Fox in their radically irresponsible behavior during election night, at the heart of which was their utterly impulsive call for Arizona going to Biden literally minutes after their polls closed. Now, remember, in Texas, Biden got fewer counties than any other Democrat presidential candidate in history. So much for turning Texas blue. Trump won Texas by 8 points. He won Florida by nearly 4 points. He won Ohio by 8 points. And yet Fox News sat on these 3 states for hours before they made a call. And yet a call was made in Arizona, which in many ways justified the swing states from stopping their votes that Trump was leading, only to pick up once again with a massive dump of ballots, all for Biden. And then a couple of days later, as if Fox couldn't possibly insult their viewers more, the utterly odious Chris Wallace compared Ted Cruz's support of President Trump to a Japanese soldier still fighting World War II. I mean, if you haven't canceled your cable subscription to Fox yet, what on earth are you waiting for? You can effectively fire Chris Wallace by cutting cable. And so needless to say, the backlash against the Fox News network has been swift and it has been explosive, now officially delivering Fox News with some of its worst ratings it's ever had. So Fox is clearly beginning to feel the retribution of the 71 million voters for Trump who have every reason, every justification to believe that Fox News led a mainstream media coup against their president. And this is a coup that's been going on for quite some time. Back in October 2016, during the presidential campaign then, Newt Gingrich cited the journalist Barry Castleman, who made the argument that the mainstream media had so combined their forces against Donald Trump and in favor of Hillary Clinton that he believed we were witnessing nothing less than what he called a media coup d'etat that sought to determine the outcome for the next president of the United States before voting had even taken place. He saw, and I think he was quite right here, he saw nothing short of a mob mentality among the newspapers, magazines, major and cable TV and radio networks that were ganging up against Trump to deliberately influence the outcome of the 2016 election. Now, of course, to be fair, the right-wing media and alternative media, of which we're a part, we were doing something comparable. We were all clearly cheerleaders for Donald Trump and remain so. But Castleman was quick to point out that though that's true, there is a fundamental difference here between the two kinds of media. Whereas right-wing media makes it very clear our political value system, that we stand solidly on the right and for a conservative vision of life, the so-called mainstream media tends to actually cloak their political aspirations and values under the notion that they are objective and impartial, that they are merely factual. We are fact-based, the good old reporter, right? Just the facts, ma'am. All I need is the facts, right? Well, a mainstream media, as we all now know, hides behind the veneer of objectivity and impartiality, when in point of fact, they push a thoroughly left-wing, pro-globalist, corporatist political agenda in and through their so-called reporting. And we've never seen a media, now with the aid of big tech, Facebook, Twitter, Google massaging the search results, we've simply never seen a media so united in trying to take down a president as we are seeing here in 2020. Now, I need not tell you that we right now are in the midst of a massive information warfare campaign where there really are two clashing narratives taking place right now. There are two competing narratives that are dominating our nation as we speak. The first is the mainstream media narrative, which is really very simple. Trump lost the 2020 election, and in his characteristic conceit, he refuses to concede. Anyone who has any semblance of decency and self-respect, like Mitt Romney, is telling him he needs to admit that he lost, right? Romney, Chris Christie, and of course now the hypocrite without equal, George W. Bush. Yeah, Mr. Florida hanging Chad himself is actually coming out and saying, well, Trump needs to concede. The results were obvious. And so it's obvious that Biden won and that there's absolutely nothing that Trump can do about it. And it's also obvious that, we in the media are just going to be mocking and ridiculing any and all efforts from the Republicans at trying to salvage this now defeated campaign. So that's the first narrative. It was plastered on all the Sunday morning talk shows. It's being pushed by every major media outlet, including Fox News. Biden is the 46th president-elect of the United States, and Trump remains a bitter old orange ogre who refuses to concede. All right. So that's the first one. But there is another narrative. And make sure that you realize that this narrative is just as popular, if not more popular, than the media's narrative. And I think it was most eloquently expressed by attorney Lynn Wood, who's just joined Trump's superstar legal team. And that narrative is very simply, this nation is under attack. The very democratic integrity of our nation is under attack by a group of people who would rather see our nation tear itself apart than suffer through another 4 years of Donald Trump. And we all saw it unfold before our eyes. There we were watching what was promising to be an epic landslide victory for Trump. He won Florida in a blowout. He won Ohio in a blowout. The candidate that wins both Ohio and Florida has won the general election 26 of 27 times. The one exception being 1960 when John Kennedy stole the election from Richard Nixon. In fact, you want another really interesting fun fact here. Check this one out. Of the top 10 most historically accurate bellwether counties in the nation, all right? So you have 10 counties that most accurately and consistently predict the winner of the general election. Of the 10 counties that have historically best predicted the winner of the general election, Trump won 9 of them, including the top 5. And he won 9 of them by an average of 20 points. So there we were watching this epic landslide unfold before our very eyes. And then all of a sudden, the mainstream media, particularly Fox in its impulsive call for Arizona, began to basically lie. They call Arizona for Biden, even though that state is still counting and will most likely come down to just a few thousand votes or even a few hundred votes. All the while they sit on Texas and Florida, where Trump won in a blowout. Then Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia mysteriously stopped their counting. And then around 4 a.m., there was these massive ballot dumps, all voting virtually 100% for Biden. And then all of a sudden they start their counting again. And we're being told by the media that Biden was winning overwhelmingly. And of course, they eventually coronated him. So within this narrative, it's time for Trump to fight and fight hard to get back the election that he rightfully won when counting all the legal and verified votes. Now, which narrative is going to win? The swamp narrative or the stop the steal narrative? Well, first, make sure you download our free gift for you by clicking on the link below. It's called our Fake News Antidote. It is a compilation, about 20 sites that I go to for my news each and every day. They're all conservative, all celebrating Trump and nationalist populism. Look, we need these resources now more than ever, and you can download your own copy of our Fake News Antidote completely free at the link down below in the pinned comment section. And you'll have a ready list of your go-to sites that you'll definitely enjoy and will inspire you throughout this entire process. And it's yours absolutely free by clicking on that link below. It is my gift to you. So who is going to win here? Well, of course, at one level, this all comes down to President Trump. If he and his legal team keep fighting this, like we talked about in our last video, then we have a Supreme Court decision pending and other lower courts decisions pending that may indeed change the entire outcome of this election thus far. But at another level, like what we're seeing here on Fox News, the mainstream media is only further imploding any remaining semblance of trustworthiness that they had. Keep in mind, we Trump voters combined are nearly 4 times the size of the mainstream media. The mainstream media, when all is said and done, when you combine the total of ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, yes, Fox is the king of fake news now. It's officially coronated itself as the monarch in the mainstream Marxist media. You take the combined audience, New York Times, Washington Post, you're getting around 20 million, okay? Especially when you take into account that there's plenty of overlap there where CNN watchers are also reading the Times or the Washington Post and so forth. You take the sum total of the audience of the mainstream media, you're dealing with about 20 million when all is said and done, 20 million loyalists. 71 million people voted for Donald Trump. Those are real, bona fide chain of custody votes, not the frauds that dominated Biden's voters, right? Real verified voters, 71 million. We together are nearly 4 times the size of the mainstream media. And moreover, when you poll the American population at large, the media's attempt at casting themselves as objective and unbiased has completely failed. It's imploded. 8 out of 10 Americans believe that the media they go to for their information is clearly biased towards one partisan side. All right, so what's essential for us to understand is that 71 million voters basically gave the mainstream media a gigantic collective middle finger on November 3rd. So they don't have anywhere near the persuasive power that they try to present themselves as having, the mainstream media, that is. We have the power, 71 million strong, to awaken a conservative media giant like nothing the world has ever seen. And I think we're in the midst of that. I think the fall of Fox News is just the beginning of a new conservative media conglomerate that will celebrate Trumpism and nationalist populism like the nation and the world has never seen before. I think in many ways the death of Fox News has meant the birth of a new conservative media age. And if you've been thinking of finding some worthy investments, perhaps for some awesome returns, maybe this is the time to start thinking big when it comes to investing in new media. I think Newsmax is just the beginning. We're going to be talking about this in a number of videos in the days ahead, but let's put it this way, okay? Let's put it this way. If our dear president does end up getting this election stolen from him, who here is ready for, say, Trump TV? Including the biggest headline conservative personalities imaginable? I know one group that isn't ready for that. Fox News. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And you'll definitely want to check out my latest video. I just uploaded it on how the comeback officially begins as Trump goes on the offensive. You're not going to want to miss it. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.